Say hello to everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Owen. Nice
Morning.
to see that you're still awake.
I am just about.
Speaking to you from my back garden, as you can see.
Yeah, I thought. Are you having a nice time in the Bahamas anyway?
It's very, very nice, yeah. Although I hear the weather's really quite nice back at home as well,
It is.
which
I
is
know.
pleasing.
Exactly. We can even get the sun out and like lounge and take some rays.
This is a view that not many people get to see, but I get to see every day when the YM's open. Normally, this is the view from my office or in my
Nice.
office, if you like.
Yeah, it's like a
But yeah,
hidden secret in YMCA Scarborough.
It's lovely.
yeah, yeah, it's better than a plain plastered wall, that's for sure.
So, Steve, just run us through. You're the executive director of the YMCA, aren't you? So, what does your sort of job role entail, and how many days you're there? Just a brief sort of think about what you do for the YMCA.
Big up. Okay, cool. Right. Well, I suppose as executive director, I suppose I'm ultimately responsible for pretty much everything that happens under the name of and at the YM. Obviously, I don't do it all by any means. That's where we have some fantastic people, paid and voluntary, to do all the important stuff. And I just try and kind of make sure it all hangs together, and that we do that to a quality and can hopefully pay for it. Trying to bring the finance in to pay for all of the things that we want to do, work with the trustees to decide what future direction the organisation takes. We are affiliated to YMCA England, so we are part of a massive, in fact, worldwide organisation, but we're locally run, locally managed, locally funded, so we have to make our own way and respond to local need. So I heard and saw Martin's interview earlier on, and he captured beautifully the work that we're doing in terms of community engagement and expanding on the work that YMCA is already known for, which is typically theatre, dance, sport, performing arts, volunteering, that kind of stuff, all really fantastic stuff. But obviously there are other needs in Scarborough as well beyond that. And we have a role to play in that, I feel. And certainly over the last 2 or 3 years, we've increasingly moved into a kind of a wider field of support for the community as a whole. How long I'm here or how much I'm here? Well, it feels like all the time, I guess. But typically it's kind of five days a week on average. Obviously, I assist in the theatre from time to time when I'm needed. So it's a 7-day-a-week operation. And certainly prior to Liam coming on board as facilities manager, whenever that alarm went off, it was me that came out to check the building. That was one task I was very, very happy to hand over, I have to say. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning calls from the alarm monitoring centre were never popular at home. Never at all.
Well, I'm quite fortunate that when Steve had the responsibility, the alarm would go off quite frequently. But it doesn't. I've been called out a few times at 4 o'clock, but not as often as Steve was.
I can bet
Yeah,
you.
there's really no need to rub it in, Liam, at all. You know. That's just cruel. It's just me.
Nice. So obviously at the moment the YM's not open to the public. So what are you trying to do to either reopen it or get the activities back in safely, or do we have a timescale on it, or is it all a bit up in the air at the moment? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I guess the world is very much up in the air at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is a complete lack of certainty surrounding us. Who could have possibly foreseen the level of disruption to our lives that has come from this pandemic? We closed down very quickly, of course. The announcement came out from government at 5 o'clock on a Monday, and by 10 o'clock that night, we were closing the doors, not knowing when we would reopen. Many other organisations in exactly the same boat, of course. What we've been doing since, even though the building's closed, of course, we do carry on. We want to continue. We're a charity here for community benefit, and we want to and need to carry on that work. And Martin's been doing some of that. James, who I know you'll be speaking to in a little while, He's been leading on all the kind of online performing arts support work that we've been doing, just to enable people to keep in touch with us, for us to be able to keep in touch with them, to keep the YMCA current in people's lives, and to really give that kind of touch point. You and Liam have both mentioned earlier on how important the YM is to you. And we don't know, we're already 2 months down, aren't we? And we could be another month, 2, 3, 4 months. Who knows how long it will be before theatre is allowed to return in any way, shape or form. So, we don't want to disappear from people's lives, and we certainly don't want people to disappear from our lives. So it's really important that we carry on doing that work. So Martin's work on Ignite and the Youth Club, James's work on the performing arts stuff. So, it's really important that stuff carries on. For me, I've been working remotely, of course, with trustees to look at future planning, how we can get back up and running, depending upon when we're allowed to get up and running, looking at things like, okay, well, when the theatre is allowed to return, what are we likely to have to do to make that a safe environment? There's a lot of talk about the rules that will come in to make that safe. So we have to have a look at that. There's unfortunately been a lot of cancelling of shows and refunds of tickets, all of that practical stuff. Bills still keep coming in, so they need to be paid. And trying to keep in touch with staff. Most of our team are furloughed. It's quite literally the only way that we as an organisation could have survived this long. Our income stopped overnight. 90%, 95% of our income just stopped overnight, but our costs continue, and it's purely thanks to the furlough scheme that we've been able to kind of carry on. But I know that's really difficult for those people who are furloughed. They all desperately want to keep being involved. They want to be at work. They want the YM to be open. They want to carry on doing all the things that they've been doing before, and they're not allowed to. They're simply not able to. So, whilst there's 4 or 5 of us who are still working full time, and that obviously brings its challenges. I'm certainly very aware that being on furlough brings challenges too. So we've been having, roughly speaking, once a week a kind of a social drop-in opportunity for those who want to, just to say hi, just to have a chat, just to keep in touch really. And that's been quite important, I think, just to try and keep in touch with everybody.
Yeah. I guess one of the most important things to take away from that is that you are looking to reopen and you're wanting to reopen, and that's something we're striving for, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, no question at all. The desire, the will, the drive, absolutely, is to get back to normal. There's this thing called the new normal, isn't there, that everybody keeps talking about, and we don't know what it means really. But ultimately, we want to get everything back up and running. We are known for doing fantastic stuff. Yourself and Liam and others have already advocated that today. And, we want that to continue. We've been here 174 years, and we have no intentions for that to be our final year. No. And events like this, fundraising events, are really important. We've been working on various grant applications during the lockdown to try and bring in some funding to keep the YM going. I think it's probably inevitable and only fair to say that the YM will look different for a while when we get back. We don't know what that's going to look like, but the hope and the intention certainly, and the drive is certainly to get us back up and running as soon as it's safe to do so. That's certainly what trustees and myself are looking at. How can we do that? How can we make that happen in light of and in the face of all the sort of challenges that go alongside that?
Yeah. And in terms of sort of, at the moment, are we, and the foreseeable really, I've had a few people talking to me, is there going to be chances to sort of engage online? Like Martin's mentioned briefly about Ignite online and stuff like that. Will we be looking to do more live performances, a bit like what we've done today, for the foreseeable until we can maybe reopen doors or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're open to any opportunities, any suggestions. I mean, I know there's been a terrific amount of not live performance, but online replay of live performances, and obviously other live work as well. And it's been suggested to us that we broadcast our previous shows. Unfortunately, copyright restrictions, and also in some cases for our older stuff, the quality of the recording would just make that very, well, either difficult, not particularly entertaining, or actually not possible because of copyright restrictions. So we don't have material that we can broadcast from old shows. It'd be terrific to be able to broadcast some of our work. It would broaden our audience and it would really help people engage. But we are really restricted in terms of what we can do with that. I think in terms of engagement stuff, online, I think it's interesting, isn't it, that the explosion of online content, because it's the only way for people to connect at the moment. I don't think it's all going to go away. We've all learned some new skills. I mean, prior to this, I never used Zoom. I've not done any kind of Zoom meetings and that kind of stuff. Whereas now it is the norm. It's the way we talk to each other. It's the way we engage. To be able to take part in something like this is incredible. And Martin was mentioning earlier on some of the ideas that prior to lockdown we were playing around with, we were developing, we were looking into, and this will really will help to embed that really in our forward planning. I think personally there will always be a need for place. There will always be a need for a place for people to come together. I think online is great, and it certainly gives the opportunity for people who can't get to a place to be part of something. But I think there needs to be a place to come together. People need that social contact. They need to be able to, sit across from each other, have a coffee, have a chat, and partake in theatre and the band and jiu-jitsu and all those other things that we do. That's not going to go away. That will just become more important than ever, I think.
Yeah, I would 100% say that, because when I've sort of gone down there for years and years, and obviously one of the biggest parts of going down there is going down, grabbing a coffee before you do any work. Well, I don't do much work anyway, but go down, grab coffee, and then socialise with them, and that's probably the biggest part of the YM for me. Yes, we do, and we have a good time when we're doing the shows, and we put our skills in practice and everything like that. But socialising and being together as one, and almost being like a bit like a family, is like key to the YM. And I think that's what the YM's about, really. So,
and that's what we get told all the time, of course. It is about the relationships, isn't it? It's about the friendships that you make. It's about the skills that you learn. It's about the experience that you get. The theatre is a fantastic example of that, of course. People like yourself coming in, making friends, learning how to use the tech, getting involved in the different groups, supporting not only the YMCA productions and Y Musical Theatre productions, but all the productions that are put on by the other organisations that use the theatre. The YMCA Theatre and the YMCA as a whole is an enormous asset for the town, and I have to say still an underappreciated one in certain quarters, and that's work that is ongoing, and certainly we've done a lot of that over the last 2 or 3 years, is bringing to other people's attention just exactly how important the YM is and how much support it needs. There are many, many organisations in Scarborough, some of whom get a lot more support than others. And I think we need to continue to bang the drum about what the YMCA is, what it does, what it can do going forward, how we can continue to support young people and others in our community. And I think one of the important things has always been at the YM, it's not just about young people working with other young people. It's that mix of the generations, and this has always been the case. And some people have said, and it kind of feels a bit twee to a degree, but it is like a family. You do have younger, you have older people mixing together in the same building, doing the same activities, and it really works. We see that time and again. All the generations get so much out of it. And I think, I'm not going to say it's unique, because it won't be, but I guess we're quite unusual in the range of what we do and the opportunities that we have all under one roof, basically.
I think it's fantastic what one building and one charity can bring to so many people. It's just it's so varied and varied. There's so much you can do. You could be in the theatre performing, or you could be learning a martial arts skill, and that's unique in Scab. There's not many, there's nowhere else I think that you could actually do that. So it is unique, I would say. But moving away from sort of lockdown and what the YM's done, have you got any sort of memories that stand out for you and you like think, oh, that's what the YM is? Oh, that's really what I remember. That was a really funny story.
Do you know the very first thing that I thought of as soon as you asked that question? And a lot of people probably already know this. Back before I was employed by the YM, I've been involved with this YM since I was 18. I actually joined the YM to do the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. And I was asked to help backstage. It was during pantomime. And it was to fly my predecessor, Chris Wilby's daughter, across the stage. And I remember, I was so nervous. This was my first experience backstage. So it was a whole new environment for me, didn't know anybody. And I was put at one side of the stage, given a rope, well, it was a pulley, and told, when you're instructed, pull this pulley to fly. I can't remember now whether I lifted or moved across the stage, Sarah. I can't remember which that was. But I was responsible for one of those two things, and I was absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified of that. Anyway, I did that. That was all fine. And then I got invited back, which was fine. And I continued to help backstage a little bit. So that was my sort of one of my first memories of the YM. My most painful memory of the YM by far, backstage again, actually. That theatre has an awful lot to answer for, let me tell you. I was helping, and I can't remember what the show was, probably another panto, I don't know. And I was pulling a cloth in or out, something, and just twisted wrong, went down, dislocated my knee. Backstage during a performance, Chris Wilby was on one of the pods playing, because he used to play the keyboard during the shows. Cast were kind of trying to climb past me. I can't remember who the stage manager was. It might well have been Mark Dresser, because he was a stage manager for most of the shows back then. And I remember vividly going down, holding this rope with one hand, so that the cloth didn't come crashing down on top of the stage, and holding my dislocated knee with the other hand, and saying to people in a hurried whisper, "Will somebody take this rope? Will somebody take this rope so I can hold my knee?" And sat there backstage holding my dislocated knee while all the performers were going on and off and doing the show. And the ambulance team had to come backstage and get me and take me off and take me to hospital and reset my knee and what have you. And I got a call from Chris Wilby later that night saying the first thing he'd known that something was wrong was the fact that the cast were coming on at the wrong side of the stage. And I apologised to him and said, well, that's because I was blocking the other side of the stage. But it's a real case of the show must go on, and that's a real theatre thing, isn't it? So, yeah, that, like I said, that theatre has a lot to answer for.
And you've even had a little double at sound, haven't you, since then? You've taken up the old, what do you call it, faders on the old sound desk, and had a little play with that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I suppose, as with most people here, actually, it's that kind of organisation. You kind of do a bit of everything, don't you? And I've long since said that it doesn't matter what job you do here. If a wall needs painting, if a toilet needs unblocking, whatever needs doing, we just roll our sleeves up and we get on with it. And I guess operating the old sound desk was one of those instances. For whatever reason, we must not have had somebody to do it, because otherwise I wouldn't have been asked to do it. It was the old desk, thank goodness. I simply and genuinely don't know how to turn the new one on. But yeah, it was the old desk. Hillary gave me a bit of an insight to it. And I can't remember who else, probably Liam or Graham, I can't remember. Somebody else sort of showed me how to do it. And yeah, I think I did 2 or 3 performances, maybe slightly more than that. Doing jobs like that actually just gives you such an insight and such a level of respect for the people who do it. you kind of think, okay, all you do is you press this button when the stage manager tells you to, and what have you. But actually, the stress levels for me, certainly doing that in a live performance, were incredible. There's no escape, and I've said this so many times with sound, there is no escape. If you do something wrong, the entire audience knows about it instantly, and they know where to look at the person who's messed up.
You are the person they look at.
Yeah, there's just no, there is literally no escape. I'm very critical of sound because of that reason, but at least now I can be critical having done it in a very, very small way. But yes, that was another one. And Liam, bless his heart, threw me on the lighting desk one day as well, which I had no intentions of ever doing. But again, he rang down. I was covering front of house, and he rang down and said, "Could you just do this for 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever?" There was this pause on the line as I kind of thought, I'm really not sure about this, but went upstairs, and it was literally a case of pressing go or whatever. I didn't have to do anything any more complicated than that, thank goodness. But again, it really does. It really gives you an insight into other people's tasks, and I think the audience obviously has no reason to or has no opportunity to see that. But it's amazing the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and the number of poor people I've had to ring down and go, can you come up to lighting because I need to go off to sound or backstage or something like that, and just give them a crash course on the lighting desk is worrying.
But it just shows how everyone does muck in and does their bit and pulls the weight. Oh, I nearly fell off my chair then. How they muck in at the YM and just do what they have to do to get either the show on the road or someone into a meeting room on time. It just shows everything, and everyone pulls the weight and pulls the strings. What would you say?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's, again, for me, that's what makes it special as an organisation. We help a lot of people. We have 100,000 footfall through the building each year or whatever. But, we are still a very small team supported by 60, 70 volunteers without whom we simply could not do what we do. But, the staff team are incredible too. And the love they have for the organisation is incredible, and the dedication is just inspiring. And I think as an organisation, if for no other reason than that, we should have a real solid place in people's hearts.
Yeah, 100%. So, on that note, some of the YMCA open 3 words for us then, Steve.
Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
Some the YMCA open 3 words.
Oh my goodness!
Just putting you on the spot bit here.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I might just default to the 3 words that are written on the coffee bar wall: belong, contribute, and thrive. And I think they sum the YMCA up really well. And I don't need to reinvent that. That cleverer people than me have thought about this and come up with those 3 words. And I think they're perfect. Being part of the YM is a sense of belonging, but it gives you an opportunity to contribute and hopefully helps you as a person thrive. And I think that sums it up beautifully.
I do too. I think it's sort of it almost describes the YMCA so well and what it's about. And someone clever has thought that through, really.
Absolutely. Saved us the work, eh?
Exactly. Right, have you got anything you want to say?
Well, we've had a question in the Twitch chat, which it sounds like a complicated question, but I know that it is actually got quite a simple answer. Alex Wood has asked, what has the official word been from YMCA England, and have they been vocal and helpful to YMCA Scarborough?
Do we know the official word on what?
Well, I'm guessing it's the coronavirus lockdown issues. But I think it may be because I think it might be because people may not understand the relationship YMCA England has with YMCA Scarborough.
Okay. Let me explain that first then. So as I mentioned earlier on, YMCA Scarborough is affiliated to YMCA England. What that basically means is we pay an affiliation fee each year to be part of this amazing organisation. And for that fee, we get to use the YMCA name, the logo, all of that kind of stuff. And we also get the support of YMCA England, which is our kind of national body, if you like. And YMCA England's job is to support us and all the other YMCAs in England and Wales. to do what we do. They do a lot of lobbying in government to make sure young people's voices are heard and understood. YMCAs around the country do lots of different things, lots of childcare, lots of accommodation, lots of sport. Not so many theatres, but there are a few theatres within YMCA around the country. And of course, at this particular time, a lot of YMCA's activities have been curtailed. Those offering accommodation, obviously, and that one-to-one support to young people, that has to continue. Certainly can't throw people out of their homes just because of the current situation. And in fact, taking that further, a number of YMCAs have actually opened their doors to take people who were previously homeless. And a conversation is continuing with government as to how that can continue after lockdown, so those individuals don't have to go back on the streets, which obviously is worst case and should never happen. So YMCA England doing a lot of work behind the scenes, doing a lot of work to support YMCAs through this crisis. Lots of Zoom calls, lots of chief exec meetings available to support one another, and also some fundraising. And we've certainly been successful in Scarborough, applying to YMCA England's emergency fund. They've given us some funding to help see us through the crisis, and moral support and practical support as well. So yeah, YMCA England definitely busy working behind the scenes, and working quite publicly as well on the fundraising side. The relationship is very much a non-interfering relationship, if you like. YMCA England can't and don't get involved in our day-to-day operations, but they certainly are there in the background to make sure that we and every other YMCA continues to behave in a way that's conducive to the brand, that is good for the people, and good for YMCA around the world. I'll tell you what, this isn't a challenge, but I'll ask you a question, Owen.
Go on then.
You've said how important the YM is to you. What's your most important memory of your involvement with the YMCA?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's lots.
Just while you think about it, just to give you a steer, I believe, I'm not sure because I don't think you've mentioned it, but I believe you've appeared on stage in one or two shows and had a part or two.
I don't talk about it with Steve, to be honest with you. It's a little,
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Come out.
I mean, if you really want me to tell you, I was the Pharaoh in Joseph once upon a time, and from there it just.
Well, why have you not told anybody about that? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. I thought no one will know it was me with that big wig on, so I thought I best keep it a secret. No one can find out. You see. No, in seriousness, I would probably say one of the best memories, apart from being the Pharaoh and the Baron and who was that other big lead I played? I can't remember. Would probably be, in all seriousness, my first sort of year at being at the YM and meeting people. And I already met Brad, and we've just stayed friends right the way through. And it sounds really cheesy, but it just shows how we'd never met if I hadn't gone to the YM, but yet we're so close friends now. And that sort of shows what friendships you can create through the YM. Yeah, I've made loads of other friends, but that's a friendship that I'll never lose, and that's come from the YM. There's friendships I've made from the YM that have like broken up, and we just don't see each other anymore, but we're friends. And people do performing, and then they go off to university and things like that, and you don't see them. But we've gone there, we've gone as a hobby, we've become friends, we both do different lives, we've both got different jobs, but we come together and we do our time at the YM, and it's special, and we do loads of other things outside the YM as well, and it's that's sort of what the YM means. It's memory. There's loads of memories I have. Obviously, being the fair was a big memory, but that's probably like a core memory of like joining the YM and just following right the way through, and then hopefully we'll be back open at some point and be able to continue doing what we do and love to do. Is that what is the question?
Very long question?
It is. It's like this long. Are you ready to play the yes/no game?
Oh goodness! I was thinking about this because I've been watching the show, and I was thinking I had an answer for you straight away, and that was I'll be really rubbish at this, and this will make Liam laugh. I'll be really rubbish at this because everybody at the YM knows that my answer to everything is just yes.
Well, he's lost already, hasn't he? He's out.
Can I buy this? Yes. Can I do this? Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's definitely how I remember it, Steve.
So yeah, I'll be absolutely hopeless at this, but I'll give it a go.
We'll give it a go. So, serious. I just need a composure. Are you ready, Steve?
I am.
Good. He's got it good. He's got it good. So, how many years ago did you start the YM?
As an employee, 9. As a member, I can't remember now, 30? Something ridiculous like that.
She's worked at the YM for about 30 years. Well, been a member of the YM for about 30 years, something like that.
That's right.
That's right. All right. And you live in Scarborough, I guess.
I do.
Do you? Do you like Scarborough?
It's fine. It's the only place I've ever lived. I think it's a nice place to be, especially on a day like this.
Going down to the beach and enjoying the sea and the hot sand.
That's a nice thing to do. Not today, perhaps.
Do you like an ice cream at the Harbour Bar every now and again?
Harbour Bar ice creams are superb.
Do you get flake or anything like that? Anything special?
You get 2, Owen. You get 2.
You say you get 2?
You get 2 flakes.
2 flakes. Do you put sprinkles on it, or you're not a sprinkle sort of guy?
I don't.
You're not a sprinkle sort of
I
guy.
don't.
So have you ever been to the castle at YM in Scarborough?
I can see the castle from the YM. I have been to the castle.
It's quite a long walk up that hill.
Well, we did the castle as part of the fundraising walk last year. Was it last year? Last year, where we walked 20 miles or 16 miles or whatever it was, and we finished at the castle.
Did I take part in that?
I don't think you did.
No, I don't think I did either. But how many
You
people
should
were
have
involved?
done.
I should have done. It's too far for me to walk that, Steve. Jeez.
It was done in conjunction with other charities, so I don't know how many in total there were.
Hundreds, thousands?
100, over 100, I reckon.
Over 100. So, have you got a car? Drive a car? Do you like a car?
I have a car.
Do you drive fast?
I drive within the speed limit,
Oh,
Mr. Price.
have you got a personalised plate or anything like that? Anything you want to talk to me about?
I don't.
You don't?
I used to have, but I don't.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm going to guess your car's burgundy, is it?
It's blue.
Oh, it's blue. All right. So it's not blue. It's not burgundy anymore.
It's not burgundy. This one never was, no.
Oh, I thought you had a burgundy car. Could have sworn you did.
I did.
Did you
But
once?
not anymore.
No, he's too good at this. I can't catch him out. He processes everything you tell him. I can't even think of any more questions. I need the game. in front of me.
What does that mean that
Are you going to give up?
I think I've, no,
Does that mean that Steve's won?
No. We've got 20 minutes. We can.
Oh, good grief.
Uh,
I might just give it now.
yeah, no. I think we'll give him this. I honestly don't think I can catch you out, Steve. I think I'll lose to you. I'll hold my hands up and lose to you.
I think you should.
Do you think?
I do think you should give up.
I might do. But just maybe not yet.
You don't want to give up, do you? You like the challenge too much.
I do. Do you like challenge?
I love the challenge.
You love the challenge.
And I'm better at this than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah, you are, to be
right?
fair. You are. If you give a longer answer, though, sometimes it's a bit easier, isn't it?
If you say so.
I do think so. Like, the more you talk, usually the more it is to, like, not say yes or no.
Well, that is the idea of the game, I suppose.
It is, isn't it? I think you're quite good, aren't you?
I think I might be better at this than the higher and lower thing, though. That was hilarious yesterday.
Oh, the one where the board fell down?
The one where the board fell down and you just lost it completely.
Yeah. And I thought I was going to laugh, and yeah. It was funny, though, and considering I built set, you never thought that would happen, would you?
Sorry, I missed that bit.
Considering I've built so much set, you would never think that would happen, really, to me.
I think I will avoid being drawn on an answer to that one.
I think the answer's no to that one, Steve. There's only one answer. I think laughing class as a hesitation. I think I win. Hands up. I've won.
Okay, if that's what winning means to you, Owen, I'll yield to that.
Oh dear. Well, thank you for taking your time to come and talk to us today, Steve.
Katie's questions come through.
Oh, Katie's questions come through. 2 seconds.
It's a difficult one.
Okay.
It's, where is my cake from Catherine? She's wasting away.
I suspect she's not wasting away, for a start. I suspect she's living very healthily. And where's the cake from Catherine? I can't really be drawn on that, I suppose. I shall have to have a word with my daughter again and see if I can convince her to do one for you, Katie.
The cakes your daughter does look very delicious on Facebook. And the ones that we've eaten at work before lockdown were very delicious as well.
Well, she made one yesterday for my son, who's just finished his second year uni exams, and he stated that he felt he should have a celebration cake for doing that. And so, somewhat reluctantly, Catherine's baked him a very, very chocolatey cake. So I should imagine there'll be a photo going on Facebook later to tantalise Katie even more.
Does your son like chocolate cake then, Steve?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Yeah! He said, yeah, I'll take that one any day of the week! Right.
Yeah.
So finish that game, but you can have that, Owen.
We've had this for the 24 hours, Steve. We'll, like 6 hours later, you'll say something that he said 7 hours ago.
It's been fun.
Okay.
It's been fun. I hope everyone's enjoyed. Anyway, thanks very much. Oh, God, you've gone. Is he still there? Hello.
I'm still here.
Hi, nice one. You flashed off my screen. I thought you'd vanished. No, if you've got anything to ask us, please ask away, Steve. If not, thank you for coming.
No, I think you're doing a great job. Well done. It's really interesting watching. It's great guests. I'm looking forward to the rest of your interviews today.
Oh.
And yeah, I can't think how many hours is it now? 7 and a bit hours to go.
Something like
You're on
that.
the home straight.
7 hours and
You're on the
15
home
minutes.
Not that you're counting down at all.
Never. I wouldn't do that. Right.
Well, I look forward to seeing you all back at the YM in due course, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Very much so. We hope to see you soon too, Steve. And hopefully I won't be in your office.